Parents are constantly correcting their kids and they don't actually see that a lot is changing. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 questions that will help your child grow with self-control, with wisdom and obedience, and help turn your discipline into discipleship. So question number 1 is, what happened? And this helps your child slow down and process the situation, but you don't want to just stop with what happened. You want to take that opportunity and go deeper, which leads me to my question number 2 is, what was happening in your heart? You might start asking questions like, were you feeling angry, frustrated? Did you want the toy? Just whatever your scenario is, and helping your child recognize what is driving my behavior, what is causing me to do what I did, and giving them that connection. So practically, you might say something like, I saw 2 kids that were both fighting over the toy. What was happening in your heart? What were you feeling when you hit your brother? Now they start connecting the dots. Okay, I had a feeling and now it's leading to a behavior, which leads me to my question number 3. What would wisdom look like next time? What could you do differently next time, right? Now you guide them, now you train them. And this part is extremely important because these questions are not made to be asked in the middle of a disobedience. In that moment, your goal is just to stay calm, authority. And later, when your child is calm and able to listen and their hearts are tender, this is when you will ask heart-probing discipleship questions. Personally, I would say before bed is like the best time to ask these heart-probing questions. If you have seen any of my other videos, I have a whole video on role play. Instead of just focusing on what happened wrong, you want to give them scenarios and practice habits of what they can do that is wisdom. So for example, we can use our words instead of hitting. We can ask for a turn. We can talk to mommy. We can wait patiently. We can serve and move on. Different things like that, right? And I think sometimes we can be really frustrated with our children that they keep doing the same thing over and over again. But I would say it's not quite fair to our children if we're not training them in a better way, if we're not giving them tools and resources. And sure, a lot of us, like including me, we grew up without tools, And so we became unhealthy adults, unhealthy in our relationships. But as godly women, God can give us grace and supply the wisdom that we need. Because the goal of discipline isn't just stopping the behavior. The goal is to disciple the heart, is to help your child grow into someone who can choose what's right. And if you've been on here any length of time, you know that we're not just after external behavior and compliance. We want an inward conviction. We want our children to love the Lord and to be disciples. And so anyways, this is just one of the tools that I use when I disciple my children. So if you feel like you're constantly correcting the same behavior and your child's not really growing in wisdom and they just keep repeating the same thing, this is why I created Raising Little Disciples. Inside, I walk you through really simple biblical and practical frameworks just like this, so you're not just reacting all day. And then I even have like a script cheat sheet. And so I want to read a couple of these power struggle script cheat sheet. So when the power struggle is starting, I see this is hard, I'm going to help you. Or when a child is arguing, you want to neutralize the arguing, right? I'm not going to argue. We'll talk after you decide to obey. You can decide now or I'll decide for you. When their emotions are high, they're whining, yelling, crying, I'll listen when your voice is calm. I see that you're upset. Take a moment. I'll be right here when you need me. And then we talked about enforceable statements. We'll go through those a little bit more, which these are like core power struggle tools. I'll help you when you're calm. You may play once your work is finished. Anyways, I have just like a bunch of these different types of scripts that you can just print out, put on your fridge or your wall and utilize it. But I want to end with this one. So following through. I love to say if I don't quite know what I want to follow through with my consequence, because you want it to be relatable to the punishment, right? Like if they're fighting over a toy, you're not going to say, okay, I'm going to go take away your bike. Like you take away the toy, right? It has to be relatable to the consequence to really hone in on your consequence. I think I said that so many times. But I love, if I don't know quite what to say, I might say, would you like to obey or would you like to disobey and get a consequence? Or you chose not to obey. This is what will happen next. Or you know what? If all fails, buy yourself time. Mommy is going to have to do something about this, but not right now. Try not to worry about it. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm ready. And you don't have to rush with consequences, especially if your child is slightly older and they know how to wait. And you will know if your child is able to wait if you give them the reward of an ice cream and they remind you the next day or 2 or 3. That means they will remember that there is a consequence happening. Let me know in the comments below which of these questions that you plan to use, or maybe which ones you think are hardest to start using. I'd love to be able to help you because I know that you will see fruit immediately when you start discipling your children in this way. Otherwise, feel free to hang out with me. I'll put some videos below, and until next time, bye.